hello, happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Instagram Live for Earle Wellbeing. You join me here in my kitchen and we are in for a treat today because we're going to be joined by one of my oldest friends in the beauty world, Kate Shapland. I was trying to work out how long she and I have known each other. It's at least 35 years, so scary thought, isn't it? Anyway, Kate is just brilliant. You may know her brand, Legology. She's another fab female founder working in the world of beauty. And we're going to be talking all about cellulite, dimpled, fatty deposits that settle on the hips and thighs, especially for midlife women. Hormonally driven, very often got a lot to do with lymph. So we're going to be talking about lazy lymph, amongst other things. Love it. So this is Kate's brand, Legology. Do follow it on Instagram if you don't already. She's got brilliant leg inspiration. Oh my gosh, some of the pictures that she posts are just epic. And of course we do have a generous Liz Loves as well on everything on Legology. So that's legology.co.uk. You can use Liz Loves for 20% off. So I'm going to first of all connect with Lainey from my team. So Lainey will be here moderating. So if you've got any questions about Earle Wellbeing, about the magazine, about the podcast, anything to do with your magazine subscription, for example, or where to find links to the things that we talk about on the Earle Wellbeing website, then Lainey will pick that up. And let me see if we have Kate. Okay, Kate, I can't see you yet. If you want to request to join me, then I will click accept. One of the things that I love about Legology is not only is it a brand that's dedicated for leg care and it's got lots of active botanicals that really work to improve the circulation. We'll be talking about lymphatic drainage and all of that, lymphedema, kind of those sort of medical issues that tend to cross over with physical appearance and how we look and the beauty side of things, is the smell is amazing. I think obviously because Kate's background is beauty and working in fine fragrance, I know she went to Grasse in the south of France and worked with fine perfumers, and it just smells like a summer holiday. It smells like the lemon groves of the Amalfi Coast. It just smells of sunshine and freshness, and it's so uplifting. You know, even in the depths of winter, you get that kind of real hit of something great. Okay, Kate, I can see that you have requested. So where are we? Legology. So yeah, I love that. Salon secret for legs. And I know that you will find this actually in lots of beauty salons where they use it therapeutically for massage and treatment. Hello, my lovely friend.
Hello.
How are you? I don't think I've seen you in real life since my birthday party.
Oh my goodness, what an evening. That was best hostess of parties, Christmas annual carol concert, Liz Earle.
I do love a good soiree.
I know.
Especially when I'm able to be surrounded by so many lovely friends, lovely long-standing friends. I was trying to remember how long we've known each other.
Long time. I hate to think of it actually because it makes me feel a bit old, but it's got to be 35 years.
It's got to be, because I was working as a junior beauty editor on Woman's Journal magazine that no longer exists. You were at Harper's and Queen?
As it was. Yeah, and in fact, it's now Harper's Bazaar, but then it was Harper's and Queen.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to go in there as a complete insect and into the fashion department.
An insect.
It was terrifying. And I worked
They are terrifying, those fashion editors. Oh my gosh.
Well, I tell you something funny. We went, when that film, Devil Wears Prada first came out, I went to see it with 2 or 3 girlfriends who I'd met while I was working at Harper's, and we were like, we've got to go and see this film. And we were sitting watching it, and there were some people in the row behind us, and they were saying, oh, please, come on, this can't be for real. And we were going, oh, and the rest.
And the rest. Oh my gosh. So you were in the fashion cupboard. I mean, that is just like the Aladdin's cave of never-ending fashionista accessories. I remember it from Woman's Journal. Woman's Journal, you know, wasn't particularly kind of high-end fashion, but Harper's must have been extraordinary. So you were writing beauty back then, is that right?
I was, but I started in fashion, and I stayed there for, I think, about 5 years. And then I saw an opportunity that came up in beauty. and I'd always been fascinated by beauty. I love fashion, but I'm not as obsessed by it as I always have been with beauty. And so I applied for a position there, and I started writing. Actually, the first piece I wrote was a story for Leslie Kenton, who was the health and beauty director at the time.
Legend.
Yeah, and totally. And she said, "Oh, I need somebody to go and review a spa." Well, I mean, can you imagine for a young girl?
Pick me.
Yeah. So I did. I went, and that was the start of it. And then after that, I just carried on, and I loved it, just like you. Met lovely people like you, and we had really rather a jolly time, but also sort of golden years in many ways. We had access to incredible experts. You know, what I loved about being on a magazine at that time was that you got to see everything first. Everything was brought to you, because of course these were the days before digital, long before.
Yeah, so we saw stuff months before and went kind of behind the scenes to places that nobody ever had any access to. I mean, now, of course, you've got Instagram and you've got all the kind of beauty influencers and bloggers doing so much.
Yeah. But it was much more secret in those days, much more mysterious, and just great times, happy learning times, wonderful.
And then you went on. I think was it the Saturday Telegraph magazine? You were writing beauty.
Yeah, that was. Last continuous writing job I did, actually, and I did a weekly column for them for 14 years. And I loved it, and I loved everybody there. And this was just as the digital world was coming into being. But I'd also at that point developed Legology. And so I was faced with one of those forks in the road that so many of us are, exciting times. And I realized that where I really wanted to put my passion and my energy was into this brand and the research that we'd all been doing into the lymph. And so there it was. So I developed the first product, Airlight.
And, you know, you are extraordinary with what you've done. I remember trying your first ever product. Was it Airlight?
Yes.
Was that the first one?
Good girl.
I still love it. I've still got this, you know, but I was in the shower this morning after my dip in my pond.
Yes.
And, you know, this goes on my legs. I wish we had smelly vision, because it is so incredible. Can you describe this scent? I mean, I said that you went to Grass and you worked with perfumers to create it.
Yeah, I did. So I knew with this product, there were lots of things I wanted to achieve. But one of the main things about it was I wanted to make it a joy to use.
Yeah.
Because the thing about anything is it's the same with your face, it's anything, and your hair, is that with beauty, it's about repetition, as we know. Same with diet, same with activity, everything.
Consistency.
And so in order to do it, you've got to like it.
Yes.
So all of the products that I'd come across were either for your legs, and generally body care, were either kind of, they smelled great, but they didn't do much, or they did something and didn't smell very nice. And I wanted to create a product that was almost like a holiday in a bottle fragrance. So it just uplifted you every morning. So I went to the one fragrance house that I knew about from our times as beauty writing, which was Robertet, you know, based in Grass.
Happy day in Robertet.
Happy day. And of course they make fragrances for Dior and Chanel and all these big houses. Of course, I didn't think of that. Like, but can you make me a fragrance, please, for my product? And they did.
Go to the top. You know, why not?
I said to them, look, I want it to smell like holidays, and I want it to be. I've been very inspired by the Italian Riviera and Capri, where's the wonderful leg school there, and all those places we'd been in our years as journalists. And I wanted it to smell of as you said earlier, the Amalfi lemons, the bergamot, a little bit of rose, just that wonderful feeling, that smell when you're on holiday.
I'd use this just for the smell. I'd actually use it as a body cream. The fact that it's actually toning and firming and smoothing my legs is kind of like the added benefit. The fact that you can do all of that in one. So what have you got? You've got a great smell, but what are the actives in here that's actually doing the work?
So there's two complexes, and we call it the lymphology complex, and that actually goes across every product. In every product we have the same deep drainage action, which helps the lymph. Okay, and some of those formulas are slightly different, but they're still called, as an umbrella term, the lymphology complexes. But in that particular one, there's two complexes. There's Pro-Contour, which is, they're both French, these complexes, and that actually works on the area around the fat cell. Okay, so our thing with Legology, my interest, if you like, has always been in the lymph. Yes, to leg shape, but but also leg comfort and heaviness. I mean, a lot of women I find, and me certainly, and this is how I came to this journey, it was all about feeling heavy legged. So at the end of the day, I've got that issue where my lower legs feel puffy, my feet are very often puffy, my ankles, especially after I've flown, or you know, a lot of women say they get this when they're pregnant.
Yeah, hormonal changes, time of the month, you know, perimenopause, having to stand on your feet all day, you know, all of those reasons.
Yeah, exactly that. And I just thought that this is a deeply unsexy issue for many women. And I need to find a help for it that's going to actually feel great to use. So the Pro Contour Complex helps to diffuse the trapped fluid, which is around the fat cells. Now, this to me is what cellulite is. It's not fat, although it will appear in areas where there is a density of fat cells, because that's by nature, that's what's going to happen. So, you know, maybe the tops of your arms, thighs, it can appear anywhere, cellulite, but it is about congestion and it is about trapped fluid and the trapped fluid that appears around the fat cells, which is what pushes them out of alignment. And that's what creates those little dimples. That's what creates that uneven.
You can see them then on the surface of the skin because they've been pushed there.
Yeah, exactly right. So the idea is to clear that environment, make it cleaner, make it smoother. And this is always been my kind of message, my dream, my logology. It's like clean out those areas. Don't fight the fat. Clean. It's about flow, not fat. So Pro Contour does that. And then the other complex that Airlight contains is called Leg Active. And this one is much more about the fatigue. So as you were saying earlier, that terrible being on your feet all day.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get those shooting pains if you've been wearing heels. You get that heel fatigue, goes right up your legs. Or you get that sort of just general fatigue, and especially in hot weather. And so this complex contains goldenrod, butcher's broom, all of those wonderful herbs that we know about that help to ease that fatigue, if you like. So it's kind of got a double approach, if you like. So those are the two complexes. The key with them is that when I was developing this product, it took me a long time, Liz. I know you know what this is like. And I found myself a wonderful French chemist, independent lady. And I said, look, this is what I needed to do, the deep drainage side of it, but also this sort of relief of the fatigue and the puffiness. And I said, whatever you do, please can you just make it as potent and as powerful as it can be, but still a joy to use. So she was putting all this stuff in and it kept going green and it just wouldn't work and it wouldn't settle because it was so powerful. And eventually we got there, and that's why it's so special as a product. You know, it is incredibly effective, but also, as you say, it feels great to use it. So.
Well, you know, I've read the online reviews. It's something that's been a staple, you know, in my bathroom for many years since you first developed it. And I know that you work a lot with women, particularly that have issues with lymph and lymphedema, and you've got a big kind of support network. You've got a brilliant newsletter that goes out. You know, if anybody has issues with swelling, with lymphedema, make sure that you're on Kate's newsletter, because your resources and help. And that is a clinical medical condition, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is.
Do we know what causes it?
What's that?
Do we know what causes it?
Yeah, well, they don't really. It's still a very complex issue. It's something that it's a little bit like cellulite in a way, that about the fluid, it's about what is causing that congestion and what's causing that chronic congestion for those sufferers. And there's a lot of reasons for it. For some people, it can be a minor injury that just damages the lymph, and impedes its flow. So it can start in one limb. For some women, they get, well, actually a lot of women, they get this issue when they've had treatment for cancer. So what's happened is that the treatment can affect, or it can damage the lymph cells, the lymph nodes. So the sort of passing of the lymph, which is like this kind of milky, almost ethereal substance that passes through your body like a network, just like your blood circulation, is very fragile, and it's very close to the surface of your skin. And so it's easily damaged. And I think that they think that's partly to do with it. It can be hormonally related. It can be hereditary. I've met so many women. In fact, I met a lovely lady a week before last, and she said, I know I'm going to get this issue. She said, I'm of an age now where I can see things changing. And she was perimenopausal. And she said, I've seen it in my mum, and I've seen it in my older sister. And so I think there's definitely a hereditary area to this. There is definitely a genetic predisposition.
I do think we inherit our mother's legs.
I'm afraid we do.
I'd love someone to prove me wrong on this. You know, I definitely,
Yeah.
you know, have inherited mine.
Thanks,
Although having said that, Lily has got the most amazing long legs, and they're definitely not mine, and she's definitely my child. So maybe she's just disproved me on that. But very often, the kind of the shape and the physiology, you know, is genetic. And I know I'm predisposed to heaviness and to puffiness. And, you know, I found over the years, you know, I used to get cellulite. You know, I have a tiny bit, but nothing like I used to, partly because I eat in a different way. I do my squats, I do my cold showers, I use Legology, I do my body brushing. You know, it's kind of this multifactorial approach, isn't it? I know this is your body brush, you call that Lymph Light. The boom brush for body. How brilliant is that? Because, of course, being a journalist, beauty editor, you've just got such a way with words. Everything that you write, all your captions and everything are just so brilliant. But I'm a big fan of body brushing. Why are you such a fan?
Well, I mean, I can't really put into words how powerful that little simple thing is.
I've never tried it, really.
I mean, really, it will change your life. And it will actually, no, I honestly believe this, but not just, okay, you can tell me if it has or it hasn't, anybody who tries it for the first time, but it's not just about your legs, because the thing is about your lymph is it obviously goes around your whole body. And so basically what your lymph is, your lymph brush is, it's about moving the lymph in the most sympathetic way, if you like. So as I was saying earlier, it's very close to the surface of your skin, your lymph. It doesn't need rubbing hard, it doesn't need bashing with sticks or anything like that.
It just needs gentle stroking.
It's that abrasion that does it, and it only needs to be gentle, only needs to be quick. It doesn't need to take you longer than a minute. You can do it wet, you can do it dry. I mean, I do mine after the shower.
I would do mine before. It's not interesting.
I put the cellulite oil on and then I brush over it. And it just needs
to You're using the cellulite oil and the brush together,
Yeah, every day. And sometimes when I'm really feeling good, or I know that I'm going somewhere, maybe on holiday, and I want to feel just a little bit lighter, if you like, or just a little bit more, my silhouette a little bit more refined, then I'll use Airlight as well over the whole leg. But the thing about that oil is it's very powerful. Again, it's deep drainage, it's aromatherapy oils, all those lovely oils like juniper, lemon, which is where you got your lovely smell, lemon, Siberian fir, and you put that on and it's got that wonderful deep drainage, but it is a targeted product. So you don't need to put it all over you. Just on the areas where you feel a bit puffy.
Okay, so you put it in your butt, kind of around your hips, thighs, inner thigh, all of that over the tummy maybe.
Tummy, up,
and then you do your brushing on top.
Over the top.
And I've written a lot about body brushing. You know, I put it in the first book. I think I have a wrote on beauty, and we've got information on Earle Wellbeing about it as well. And I always say, you know, start like the soles of your feet. That's where I like to start. Get my reflexes going. And then just work up the body in little kind of sweeping movements. As you say, don't press hard, don't damage the skin. And it's interesting that the lymph, I didn't realise it lays so close to the surface of the skin, so it doesn't take much to get it going.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. So I think what's so fascinating about the lymph is the way more and more people are talking about it now and understanding it, the wider audience. I mean, for years, it's played second fiddle to our circulation, to our blood circulation. It's very similar. It's a similar network. But for centuries, you know, anatomists have been studying it, and they've drawn those, you know, those marvelous kind of maps that they show of lymph on the body, and they've been drawing these for years and understanding where the lymph goes, how many lymph nodes there are. And even only recently, you know, I read a study the other day where they were saying how they'd discovered that it's also in your brain tissue, lymph is in your eyes, it's helpful for bone regeneration. It is.
By stimulating the lymph, then, you know, and because we've got lymph nodes here in our groin and our arms, and you know, by doing that with body brushing, can we expect to see benefits for the whole lymphatic system?
100%. That's why I say it can change your life.
Fascinating.
It's not just about getting everything going. It's just generally, it's a general overseeing of your whole health with that simple little brush. The other thing, of course, Liz, is being active, and that's why you've probably got less cellulite, because you're active. Now, the thing about it is cellulite is not democratic. As we all know, it can affect people who are incredibly fit, people who are less fit.
And people who are very lean.
Completely. So again, it's not about being overweight. It's about the dispersal of that fluid in your body and getting it all going. I love the fact that the word lymph, I think it comes from the Greek nymph word, which of course means clean spring water. Which is just, it just says everything to me, because it's about cleanness. It's about being, you know, making yourself as clean as you can. And I don't mean that in a necessarily cosmetic way, you know, sort of necessarily clean cosmetics, although that's a wonderful thing. But I mean it just in terms of looking after yourself and making sure you're flushed through. The water drinking, so key.
Lots of water. And that's going to help with the lymph.
It helps to support the lymph because it dilutes everything. And of course, I was always reading about hydration, you know, through our beauty years. There was a lot of talk about it and about how it can moisturize your skin and moisturize you from within. And yes, you know, there may be a case for that, but the most important thing is it helps to clear the lymph, and the liver and the kidneys.
And you feel much better for it. And the lymph is such a powerhouse that we don't really talk about that much, because what it does is all the toxin and rubbish and cell debris and everything that the body is having difficulty processing with, it absorbs it all. It kind of scoops it up in this fluid going around the body. It then takes it to the lymph nodes and then gets excreted. So it's really important, you know, to not get that stagnation going in the body, which can then show up as the visible sign of that would be, you know, an outward sign would be something like cellulite or puffiness or lymphoma maybe.
And a lot of ladies say, you know, even if they don't have cellulite, they say, oh, I feel puffy, you know, generally my tummy's puffy, or I feel puffy around the eyes, and you know, it is all connected to the lymph.
Yeah, puffy around the eyes. I mean, my eyes are so much less puffy.
Yeah.
It's, you know, and I noticed that through, I mean, just through so many things, it's hard to pinpoint one thing, but you know, when you pull them all together, and your body is working in balance as it should, you know, you find that all the tissues of the body just kind of tighten. Intermittent fasting is actually really good for that as well. Do you do that?
I do. I try. I think the main thing I try to do, I mean, my main things are the body brush, the drinking the water, and trying to be as active as I can. And
okay, now tell me about this little thing. So this is not a diaphragm.
No.
Okay, I was going to say it's a slightly odd shape. It might be a tad uncomfortable.
It's not something to keep in your car either if you get caught short and want to do a wee. No, this is I know, we've all had the laughs. It is a strange looking thing, but it is an incredible thing. Now, you know about suction cups, you know about
cupping.
Exactly. That's just the same principle, but that's a lot of therapists do it as a stationary cupping. So they pop it on your back. So that's where sometimes you see the little red circular marks. This is not stationary. This is motion. This is movement. So what you do with that cup is it's literally like a vacuum for your lymph. So you close it just as you're doing, and then you pull it always upwards. Everything always goes upwards towards the lymph nodes. That's it. And what it does is it helps to bring the lymph up, again, being just underneath your skin. So you can do that. You can do it on your arms. You can do it from your knees up towards your thighs. Sometimes people find it a little bit tender. You want to just go a bit easy.
You can see areas of congestion, but that just means that there's a bit of stagnation there that you actually need to shift.
Exactly. That's what that's made for. And women find it, I mean, you have to use it with the oil because it helps with the sort of purchase, you know,
helps it to glide. Okay.
Exactly. Or you could use a bit of talcum powder, actually.
Okay.
But I think that, I mean, that little gadget, again, so simple, but so useful in sort of sculpting the silhouette. Yeah. So I think that a lot of people.
So kind of puffiness, you know, inner thigh, asking for a friend, you know, is that going to help with that? Could my friend use it on that area, maybe?
Yeah, no, she'll understand, your friend. That yes, inwards up the thighs, but carefully, because that's a very, very sensitive area, obviously. So you want to be quite careful with that. But outer thighs, you can be a little bit more, apply a little bit more pressure.
A little bit more robust. Yeah. And also, you know, particularly the body. I have to say, you feel so invigorated. Does anybody else here on the chat do a body brush? Yeah. You know, it feels weird at first when you put the dry bristles over your skin. You think, oh my gosh, what is this? What is this? You get used to it and you get addicted to it.
You do. And you know, one of the reasons I think you get addicted is because you can see when you've used a body brush how much it's done for you immediately, because it brings all that fresh blood up to the surface of the skin as well. All that nutrient-rich blood comes up, freshly oxygenated, and it plumps the skin. So it gives you that wonderful pink flush. Obviously, don't do this to your face.
no. Too
No,
much for the face.
that's your exfoliator.
Yeah.
But for your legs and your arms or your body,
Yeah,
it's
and upper arms, you got like kind of crepey skin here, but rough, bumpy skin. Magic for that too.
Yeah.
And this I absolutely love, and I'm so thrilled now that the weather's warming up and I'm kind of going to shed my tights for the first time in months, is the Sun-Lite sheer lingerie for legs. How clever are you with this?
That's my
baby. Again, it smells heavenly.
Yeah.
We've got actives in here and a little bit of colour. I mean, it's not a self-tan.
No. So the idea with that was, as you say, it was not to provide, I think a lot of women are a little bit fearful of self-tan because they think they might put it on, don't like the colour, can't get it off. This is a wash-off tint. It's like a finisher, if you like. The interesting thing about this is it's really like Airlight, but with colour, because it's got the same complexes in it. So it's going to give you that same support through the day. Maybe you're going to a wedding and it's a warm day, whatever it might be, wearing your heels. But it also gives you a bit of colour, and you can build the colour. So you don't have to have it. Yeah, you can apply a layer and then leave it for a minute and then apply another and just deepen it.
Okay, but it does just even skin tone. You know, my legs are crazy pale, and you know, I am quite self-conscious if I do go bare-legged. I think maybe I need to put a little bit of self-tan or something on. But to do something like this that's giving a therapeutic value, it's moisturizing, it smells amazing. You're getting that lightness, you know, with your circulation and your blood flow. And I think, I mean, the idea is that it's a realistic colour. It's not sort of blanket dark or blanket. It's almost like an enhancer rather than a,
I would say,
tint. It just kind of gives you, takes the edge off the pallor, basically. It makes your skin look a bit more vital, a bit more alive.
It does, and it's designed for all skin tones, so everybody can use it.
Any skin tone.
Any
skin tone. It's going to give you colour. It's going to give you a glow.
Brilliant after you've been in the sun and you want some, you know, you want a little bit of after sun. It's cooling as well, and it just enhances that colour. So it's a great all-round product, Sun-Lite. Glad you discovered that one.
These are definitely coming in my bag. I'm going to Italy in a couple of weeks' time, just for like 10 days or so. But, you know, and I'm very careful about what I pack. And I always think, you know, is this something that I'm really going to use? If I'm not going to use it and love it or really miss it, then I'll leave it behind so I'm not overloaded. But I have to say, this is definitely coming with me, and my body brush, and my oil, okay, maybe I need that extra bag. Hey, it's such a joy to talk to you. Thank you for giving us. Oh, and I just have to say, these are amazing. So they were hiding under my bag.
Yes.
The salts, the exfoliating salts, and again, great for travel because you've got little pouches of these. Give us a quick line about these. They are epic.
So that's a combination of Himalayan pink salts and sea salt. So the Himalayan pink salts have that wonderful deep drainage action as well. So again, the theme follows through. It's very, very crunchy. What I wanted with that product was to create something where you didn't have that sort of chase the grain around your thigh, one grain. I want raw.
I know those.
And jagged grains. They're not smooth. And it's water soluble. So you put that product onto your skin dry, step in the shower, put it onto your legs dry, massage it in, turn the shower on, and it will turn into a sort of a milk, and it's very softening and very smooth, makes skin very smooth. And it's a bit of a cult product, but it's in the bag like that, partly for travel, but also partly because it's water soluble. If it was in a jar and you put your hand in it, you might spoil it. So that's why we keep it like that. But it is a bit special, that product. Do love it.
It's absolutely epic.
Thank you.
I'm going to be doing my legs with it and following it with the Airlight. And we've got 20% off everything, which we're super grateful for. I can imagine that you and your team are going to be busy. And of course, you do answer questions, don't you? People, I've seen various questions come up about varicose veins, lymphedema, post-cancer treatment. You know, you've got all the knowledge, so people can contact you directly.
Well, that's the best bit of the job, as you know, is talking to people about this, about the journey, about why, about how. Once you get started, you can't stop. So it's, I love to talk to people. So please contact me, ask me anything.
Wonderful. And I will be contacting you anyway separately to get a date in our diary.
Yes. I hope you noticed I'm wearing my Barbie pink for you.
Well, I was trying to find something yellow to go with Legology. I don't really do yellow. This is the closest. I thought, well, at least I could be kind of citrus.
Super fan. Maybe. I love it.
Gorgeous. Well, we love you. Thank you so much, Kate. So lovely to see you. Take care. See you very soon.
Bye.
Bye. You click off on the little white square. fantastic. A genuine love for Kate and for everything at Legology, and you seriously can't go wrong. So if you want to give yourself a bit of a treat, a bit of a holiday for legs, or perhaps you are looking at getting to grips with an issue like lymphoma, lymphedema, swelling, puffiness, restless legs, heavy legs, post-pregnancy legs, menopausal legs, hot legs. Basically, if you've got a pair of legs, then Kate's brand is for you. Just before I go, lovely to talk to yet another female founder working with botanicals, and that was Forage Botanicals. I hope you saw that on Thursday when I did my live from my little wildflower wagon in the Welsh mountainside. It was just dreamy. I made a little reel actually of my trip, so do go and check that out if you didn't see it. That was just a really lovely place to stay. But these are absolutely sensational, and this is basically British botanicals blended into tinctures, and she's got so much on her website, including teas and I mean just all sorts of really, really good things. And she was just lovely to talk to. And we do have a 15% Liz Loves on any order over £10, and that's important because actually her prices are very reasonable. So you don't even have to spend £10 to get some of the real benefits. So do go and check that out. I am using this one. I'm continuing my inner goddess journey, which is the mugwort and rose in a little bit of water, and yeah, going well so far, going well. So that's Forage Botanicals. Also, just to say, if you're looking for something amazing to drink this summer, hopefully we've been promised a little bit more hot weather, that's enough of the rain, thank you very much, then Mighty Brew. You can now find this on Ocado. This is the collaboration that we've done, Earle Wellbeing, in association with Mighty Brew. It's genuine, twice fermented, real probiotic, low sugar, no alcohol, brilliant bottle of goodness in this lovely kind of celebration champagne bottle. This is Jasmine Bellini, which is possibly my favorite at the moment. If you love a Bellini cocktail, looking for something alcohol-free, you can serve this in a champagne glass, wonderfully chilled. It is absolutely delicious. Unfortunately, my children have discovered how delicious it is, so I have to hide it and ration it. The other one that I really like is the elderflower sec. This was the first one that we did. And if you're just fed up with the sugary, high sugar that there is in elderflower cordial, which so often you're kind of offered or you serve as an alternative to alcohol in the evenings or a lunch or something, then this is a delicious probiotic, beneficial alternative. And whenever I go out to supper, if I'm invited by friends or to a lunch, this is what I take with me. And the deal is that we open it while I'm there because it's great to drink and it's great as something nice to serve people who are not drinking or who are driving maybe. Anyway, that is it for today. Just to say, this week we have an extraordinary podcast with a top medic who I have been stalking probably for the last couple of years. He's personally helped me and he's helped Lily, and I know he will help you with the information that he's about to give us all. Professor Vikram Kular, who's based at St Mary's in Paddington and at UCL, and he's a researcher and he's a multi-talented guy. He's an obstetrician gynecologist. He's a professor of urology and a mast cell specialist focusing on histamine intolerance, anything to do with urology, pelvic issues, recurrent UTIs, allergies, autoimmune POTS. I mean, he is, seriously, when I did the podcast with him, I had to ration myself on the questions because we could have gone in 100 different directions and had world-class expertise. But if make a note in your diary for the Earle Wellbeing show, it goes live at lunchtime on Friday. It's a free podcast, so feel free to widely share it. If you want to subscribe, there is Apple Plus now, and it's a really small amount. I think it's something like $2.99 a month, something like that. But it means you get the ad-free version and you get it early. You get early access. So if that's something that you're really into, then there is that as an option. Otherwise, the free option, which is exactly the same, but it just has the ad breaks in it, that comes out on the Friday. That's it for today. I'm going to be back with you on Thursday, and we've got a bit more summer beauty survival. This time we're going to be looking at hair, joined by some of my favourites, Percy and Reed. So we're going to be looking at colour protection, how to cope with frizz in the sun, how to make our hair look thicker, fuller, shinier, all of that. So please make a note to join me back here, 12:30 live, or later on catch up, obviously, Earle Wellbeing on Thursday. Until then, have a brilliant rest of the day. Lovely to see you. Thank you so much for all your hearts. Oh, Frogmore's met him. Yes, absolutely. He's a legend. I'm so pleased and proud we managed to get him on the podcast. Anyway, sending you lots of hearts, lots of love back. See you soon. Bye-bye.